Welcome back to Cinema Flicks and Music Picks. I'm Davey, your host with the most, the beast with the least. The least I can do today is a video that's been delayed for about 4 years. The 2018 remix of Pink Floyd's Animals has come out in 2022, late 2022, and now after great wailing and gnashing of teeth as usual when it comes to all things that involve Roger and Dave having to sign off on the same thing. So disputes over liner notes, blah blah blah, the usual stuff. We just want the music. We're kind of past the he said she said stuff. So hey, it came out. I was a little reticent because the immersion box set's so special for a Floyd fan, aren't they? The Wish You Were Here set, the Wall set to have the whole album's work in progress is so much more personal because you're getting to hear Roger's actual takes and things of songs that obviously mean so much. And Dark Side, to get the original in studio mix and what Alan Parsons was working on, stunning stuff. Loads of great live stuff throughout those box sets. Coasters, and of course, who can forget the classic Marbles? So they announced that this was coming out in a box set, and to great delight when we all saw the headline, and then it turned out it was nothing like the immersion sets, and there would be no extras whatsoever. That's a little bit of a vault face after coasters, marbles, posters, ticket replicas, etc, etc. I can do with all that tat being removed, that's fine, but hey, I like to hear the live stuff, and I really want to hear the in-studio stuff and how the album was built up, especially when stuff's so personal. But it was announced, you're only going to get the album. So I thought, well, I ain't paying you 65, 70 quid then, guys. Sorry, just not doing it. To get the same thing on vinyl, CD and Blu-ray and DVD as well, I think, in the box. Admittedly, with, I'm sure, a nice booklet and whatnot, with who knows what liner notes. Rod released those banned ones themselves, that's fine. Banned with an ED at the end, not a BAND. So a little bit reticent, and also I've always liked Animals' sound the way it is. It does sound a little bit muddy, but I kind of like that as opposed to some of the pristine stuff that is before and after. So when they said we're going to do standalones, I thought, okay, interesting. And then they said we're going to do a standalone Blu-ray with the 5.1 mix. I went, you had my curiosity, have my attention. And Amazon, for it is the great overlord Jeff Bezos with his cock-shaped rockets, he sent me personally a voucher saying that if you spend £20, you get £7 off if you pick it up at your local Amazon locker storage thing, whatever it's called, which is only downstairs for me. It's literally about 50 feet that way. I live on the 3rd floor. I'm not pointing to hell. I'll be there eventually, don't worry. But the fact that was offered as well meant that this cost me the equivalent of about £10 on Blu-ray, because I had something else to the order as well. So I thought, well, no brainer then, eh? And if anybody knows anything about no brains, it's me. So the Blu-ray was the clear choice for me. Now they have, of course, revised and contemporized the artwork, which I know set a lot of people off as well. I'm always happy that they do that though when it's a remix. It ain't a remaster, it's a remix, it's a new version. They're not eliminating the old version. This is a new version of the album, so it should be a new version of the album cover in my book. I think that always makes sense, frankly, because it isn't just Animals remastered like previous CD editions, for example. It's Animals remixed. By James Guthrie, no less, who's been in the Floyd camp for nearly 50 years. So we ain't talking about some, newbie, or God forbid, Stephen Wilson, fucking does everything. He's announced that he's doing the Grateful Dead catalogue, and I saw him post that he's doing one track on the Guns N' Roses Use Your Illusion box. He's doing November Rain on that. So he's so busy that people will still take him just to do one track on their 300 track Super Deluxe edition. So I'd rather have somebody that's intimately familiar with the music, like James has been since the original version of the album came out, and he has a familiarity, knows the ups and downs and the stories of why there were ups and downs musically, and can give some insight into, well, actually, if we had better technology, or if we were a bit more acutely aware back then, this is what we would have done. And also be able to say, well, we just have more available to us now in terms of time, resources, technology, money, and fan base. So let's get into the actual reasons to go for it. So first of all, this is how it comes. Nice, thin, good space, premium, folks. This is premium. And here's your hype sticker. You always keep your hype stickers, always. So it includes 2018 remix in stereo, which is 24-bit, 192 kilohertz uncompressed DTS. So as high as it goes, folks. You get the 5.1 mix of same again. That's 24-bit. That one's 96 kilohertz. But you also get the flat 1977 cuts. So they ain't throwing the baby out with the bathwater here. It's not being George Lucasified. You, even in this, have the original stereo mix from 77, which is 24-bit 92. So again, DTS on that. 2018 remix, 5.1 stereo mixes by James Guthrie, and the original, of course, was by Brian Humphries, I'm going to say. I'll check that in a minute, unless it says in the back. Yes, there we go, Brian Humphries. So recorded at Stereo Britannia Row, which was Floyd's new studio that they'd built. And that's the major reason why Animals did always sound a little bit murky compared to previous efforts, because previously you had Pink Floyd, they'd been recorded at Abbey Road, and they had, there's Alan Parsons sitting over there working on his project, and you have the best in the business when you're dealing with those kind of people. So all of a sudden they're in their own clubhouse, things are literally being built as they're recording. So making an album and trying to build a studio at the same time, probably not the smartest move fidelity wise, although again, it's never bothered me with Animals. But this is one of these rare examples where only when you hear the 2018 version do you go, actually, yeah, this really does sound awesome. Really, really awesome, and I'm glad I did the upgrade. I wouldn't recommend spending £70 to do the upgrade, but certainly if you can get it cheap like I did, or just get the standalone edition like this Blu-ray. So there's some lovely artwork. And there's the way it folds out in the back to present Battersea as is rather than as was. And let's pull out the booklet. So this is lovely too. I mean, it's not just like a lot of things are these days. Just a bit of cardboard with some information. I mean, it really is chock-a-block full of some really cool ephemera, at least, which is nice. We don't get marbles, but we do get some pictures of Rog looking rather intense. We get all the lyrics, of course, and this I loved. I loved that they did include this. The centerfold, the sexy centerfold is ta-da, which I've always thought is one of the most gorgeous pictures. It just speaks of it's like, I mean, obviously there's Orwellian comparisons to be made in the album, of course, but this to me speaks of a modern day Dickens almost, where it's the Great Smoke itself, brought up to date in the post-industrial revolution, post-war years, and the nuclear age, literally, with our porky friend. There's Dave. Look at Dave there. That's a rock star, man. Dave's looking great. So Richard, bless him. And then just some kind of various black and white shots and whatnot. But it's Porky doing his thing. So, and again with a lot of original Storm Thorgerson hypnosis artwork to complement it. Audio. Main reason you're coming here, obviously, to this release is, does it sound that good? Yes, it does, as I said. The centerpiece for me, Dave and Richard, has always been dogs. And dogs here sounds like I'm hearing it fresh. This dog has just been to the groomers. It's fresh and invigorating. Everything just stands out that bit more. Dave's guitar's got more punch to it. It's more jagged. There's more bluesiness to it. It just feels like nothing's been buried anymore. There's no muddiness in this mix at all. If there's a slight niggle, it's that some of the vocals stand out a little bit more than perhaps you'd like. If you like more of an in-studio feel, the vocals do perhaps stand out a little bit separate from the music sometimes, but that's such a minor niggle, I'm not even going to count it. Disregard that last part, I'm talking bullshit. That's never stopped me. Pigs, 3 different ones. Yes, please. Complete with people still thinking that he's singing about the White House, as in Washington, when he was singing about Mary Whitehouse, a little annoying housewife from the 1970s who tried to get everything entertaining on British television cancelled because it might disrupt the children and it might corrupt their minds. I tell you what corrupts children's minds worse than anything. Censorship, Mary. Censorship. Mary, if you're watching, you're dead. Sorry. I didn't kill you, so I'm not sorry. Well, I'm sorry for your family and things. I'm sure you were a lovely little lady with good intentions, but by God, woman, Jesus. I mean, she wanted Doctor Who cancelled. Doctor Who. So Pigs in the Wing, and part 2 of Same sound absolutely sensational, but to me it is all about the middle 3 here. I mentioned dogs. Now for the first time, Dave really stands out, but actually Rick stands out. Rick's little flourishes have always sounded like, what's that? Is that when I listen to Animals? He sounds insane on this. He's playing some parts that I swear I've never heard. I know that's a kind of cliched thing to say when something's been remixed, but I swear it's like, whoa, where did that come from? And on Sheep, there are parts with Nick playing on the drums where it sounded before like he was playing little fills on the tom-tom, and you realise, wait a minute, he's actually playing right throughout. This is a consistent thing. It's much more of a beat than playing just a few fills. It's insane how much was buried in the mix and buried in the recording of this album that's now present and alive and vigorous and here and affordable and not buried in a box set that you pay £70 for. You can just get this or get the CD. I know some of you are obviously going to want to stick to the box set versions of everything, that's fair enough. But really there is nothing on this so there's nothing in the box set that isn't on this. Nothing. Not one single thing. So there's no reason for it. There's no extra tracks. That's the big problem with that box set, folks. There's no... I mean, how can you not have live stuff from the Animals tour? Where they did the whole of Animals live before half the stuff had titles, and when they did All of Wish You Were Here live, and then a couple of extra tracks on top. I mean, that's catnip for Pink Floyd fans. Ain't there. So if that was there, if it was immersion Animals, I would be on it like a bonnet, but unfortunately it ain't, so yeah. But what you do get, conversely, as I've said, is an affordable version of a classic album remixed really well. And I say that as somebody who was skeptical going in. Someone who said, I've always liked the more homespun feel of Animals compared to the more lush recording and mastering of the albums that surround it in that classic period. But to me, this is the definitive version of Animals. Whisper It, but that 77 version on here, it's not going to be played very often anymore. And I didn't think I'd be making this video because I didn't think I'd think that whatsoever. I really didn't. But now we just need some reappraisal of the actual music. I'm kind of sick of reading that it's Roger's version of Animal Farm put to music. You think, well, no. If you've no spoilers for the end of Animal Farm, but there's a revolt, and this is not that. This is an acceptance of the human and, frankly, the British need, as we've seen a lot in the last couple of weeks in the UK, to bow for your betters at all times, to be born on one knee, not to get too actually wait, this is my channel, fuck it, let's get to so many people in this country have been falling over themselves to pay tribute to, okay, not just Elizabeth the person, but the idea of monarchy. Oh, the pageantry, isn't it wonderful? No, it's not. There's a cost of living crisis in this country, and people are having to decide between electricity and food for their kids. So please don't expect me to shed a crocodile tear for a woman sitting in a coffin, literally with a crown on top of it that is encased in jewels stolen from other countries that this country invaded, colonized, and called an empire. And that crown, if it was sold off, could halve the national debt tomorrow. I mean, we've got the Tories in government, so they'd probably triple it the next day, but, you know, especially Liz Truss in charge, you can see why I don't get political on other channels sometimes. But yeah, pigs, dogs and sheep, doesn't that just sum up some of the sycophants and some of the howlers that we've seen in the past few weeks? So the pigs are the ones that are living at large at our expense, you know, born into it. The dogs are the ones who should know better but ain't, and for some reason they're coming for the likes of us that are pointing out the ridiculous nature of this structure, and they should be on our side but they ain't. And then the sheep are just the ones who just accept it and watch BBC TV telling them how the nation and the Commonwealth unites. So this is a perfect week for this to be re-released, and if you don't agree with anything that I've said in the last 2 minutes, that's your opinion. Ain't right, but it's yours. And again, Roger's out there on tour saying all this stuff. So if you disagree with me, fine. If you disagree with Roger, fine. But I'm sorry, but this album is about hierarchy in society. It's a very British album for that reason. It's about class. It's about people that just refuse to want to shake up that establishment, and people who are just born thinking that they have betters. Well, I'm sorry, I'm better than nobody, but nobody's better than me just by birth. You need to prove your actions first of all. And yeah, I'm sorry if I don't feel bad for a family of billionaires who cover up some rather heinous crimes and atrocities. And I'm certainly sorry if I think that the Tory government, who just announced that bankers' bonuses are going to be uncapped so that we can pay them even more money because trickle-down economics is back. Why don't you just go piss on John Maynard Keynes' grave? This is more timely than ever. It's one of those ones where people go, oh, it means a lot more now than it did then. No, that's the problem. It always means something, this kind of message. That there are the sheep, that there are the dogs, and there are the pigs. And none of the three groups en masse seem to do much to try and integrate into just an animal farm where we can have equality and we can have fairness. And Roger uses all his piss and vinegar to channel that into the idea of this record, and the band are 100% behind him musically. Dave's playing some of his best stuff. Yeah, it's not as showcasey as some of the stuff that he's more famous for on, say, Comfortably Numb, on some of the terrific playing on Wish You Were Here. But to me, it's all in service of the message, which makes it more powerful than 10 guitar solos. And again, the rhythm section of Nick and Rick are wonderfully reappraised on this record now that we have this James Guthrie remix. So hey, I know I've done 20 minutes just about one thing, but it hasn't been about one thing. It's about this Blu-ray, it's about the album itself, and most importantly, it's about the message of Animals, and why that message this week is as necessary as it was in 1977, the Queen's 25th Jubilee, or 25th anniversary Jubilee, lest we forget, the same year that the Sex Pistols did God Save the Queen. Noted punk John Lydon closed his social media down out of a mark of respect for the monarchy last week. Fuck off. So, yeah. Last time I made some points like these, I think I lost 5 subscribers and gained 6. So, that's fine. I'd rather be me and lose 10. But I think you're smart enough to say, if that's your opinion and you disagree, fair enough. If you just want to listen to it as music, that's also fair enough. But I think Roger would prefer, certainly, that you think about this. It's not an album just to sit on and have as background noise. It's not ambience. This is, we've done our part, here's the message, what are you going to do about it? Well, if you can't change the world, just try and tidy up your neighbourhood, you know. 22 minutes. Never knowingly under-talked. Folks, thank you very much for your patience. Very few of you have made to this part of the video, but that's fine. That's fine. The weird stuff always happens towards the end, so that's perfectly acceptable. Thanks very much for your attention. Should you have made it this far, comments, suggestions, praise, and complaints are more than welcome. Stick them in the comments. And yeah, I normally don't say what's coming up on the channel because I'm kind of scuzzy and I like to just do what I do. But Ryan's going to join me from Ryan's Final Destination. He was the first person to be on one of my deposition videos, and a terrific content creator, to use that awful term. But however good he is as a content creator, he's just an even better person. So yeah, Ryan's going to be on, and we're going to be talking about a cinema flick and a music pick. So we're going to be doing an album, and we're going to be doing a movie in one episode, and that's going to be a monthly series, but don't tie me to dates and whatnot because but yeah, and then in October we'll also be doing something with another friend, Taylor, who was episode 3 of the Depositions, and we're going to be doing a mini series on one of my favourite horror comedy franchises of all time. And I'm not going to say which one, but let's just say that my hair is a little bit weird and I could use some combs. It's Reanimator. Don't tell him I told you so, but it's Reanimator. But that'll be towards Halloween. Apart from that, I'm off work for 2 weeks because I had a bit of a health scare, but I'm fine. But the doctor said I need some time off to relax and chill, and I said, alright. So you might get a couple of extra videos here just because I'm rattling around these walls. But if not, hey, if I don't see you through the week, I'll see you through the window. How do I sign these things off again? I always forget that. Stay safe out there. Love and mercy, my dears. Love. And this one was for you a triple wink. Mercy. That was 4. Different eyes as well, multi-talented. It's like being able to do that, you know. Well, like that. Let's go for 5.